Imagine boarding a flight that should last less than an hour. A quick hop over the lush green heart of Brazil. You settle into your seat, maybe glance out the window at the clouds drifting by. Everything feels normal. But what if I told you by the time this journey ends, you'll be stranded in the middle of one of the most unforgiving jungles on Earth, cut off from civilization, your fate hanging by a thread. This is not fiction. This is the real story of the flight that vanished into the Amazon. And the most chilling part? The first mistake happened before the plane even left the ground. Welcome to AeroVerse. If you are interested in aviation stories, then make sure to click on subscribe button. Back to story. At the controls, Captain Cesar Augusto Padilha Garces, a man with over 20 years of flying experience and more than 15,000 hours in the air. Calm, methodical, and respected by peers, Garces has navigated countless flights across Brazil's vast terrain. Their machine, a Boeing 737-241, inside, switches click, instruments glow, and the faint hum of air conditioning blends with the muted chatter between pilots. Outside, ground crews finish final checks. The metallic scent of aviation fuel mixes with the warm air drifting across the runway. September 3rd, 1989. Flight 254's short route from Marabá to Belém is expected to take just 48 minutes. Weather reports show partly cloudy skies with excellent visibility. On board, 48 passengers and 6 crew, all expecting to arrive before the sun dips too low. In the cockpit, checklists are read aloud. Flaps are set, and engines spool up with a deep roar. The nose lifts, the wheels leave the tarmac, and the Amazon unfolds below like a vast, living ocean of green. The gentle vibration of the climb reassures everyone on board. Cabin lights reflect softly against the overhead bins, giving the interior a warm, secure glow. Flight attendants move gracefully, offering drinks with polite smiles. From above, the Amazon appears endless and serene, a green sea hiding secrets that will soon reveal themselves. It was a single number misread, misunderstood. The flight plan required a heading of 027 degrees, northeast toward Belém. But Garces's hand inputs 270 degrees, a nearly opposite course. This kind of mistake is rare, but when it happens, it's deadly. The Boeing turns west, away from its destination. No alarms, no warnings. The autopilot holds steady. The lush rainforest below stretches endlessly. For the next several minutes, no one on board has the slightest clue they're heading into one of the most remote regions in the world. The heading display glows quietly, a small but dangerous lie. Each passing minute carries the aircraft deeper into the uninhabited heart of the Amazon. Outside, clouds drift lazily by, masking the silent, invisible danger beneath. It's a mistake so subtle that only hindsight will reveal its devastating weight. 40 minutes into the flight, things don't add up. The expected coastline is nowhere in sight. The navigational beacons aren't matching up. First Officer Zil glances at the fuel gauges. Levels are dropping faster than planned. The captain calls ATC in Belém, but their radar shows nothing where Flight 254 should be. Voices tighten over the radio. The crew adjusts heading, scanning the horizon for familiar features, but the green canopy stretches endlessly. In aviation, uncertainty is dangerous, and right now, uncertainty is filling the cockpit. The captain's eyes dart between the compass and the horizon, searching for clues. Sweat forms subtly under his collar despite the cool air conditioning. The hum of the engines now feels heavier, more urgent. They are not just off course, they are lost. In row 12, a businessman checks his watch. They should be descending by now. Passengers exchange uneasy glances. Outside the windows, no signs of a city, just thick, unbroken jungle. The cabin crew, trained to project calm, continue serving drinks and answering questions. But their eyes are restless. A flight attendant slips into the cockpit, closing the door quickly behind her. For passengers, the mood shifts from relaxed to quietly fearful. Conversations become hushed, replaced by the occasional nervous cough. A few passengers peer out the windows, scanning for rivers, roads, anything familiar. Even without words, everyone can sense the shift. Something isn't right, and it's growing harder to ignore. Fuel readings tell a grim story. There isn't enough to reach Belém, and turning back isn't an option. The Amazon is vast, and airports are few and far between. Captain Garces begins scanning charts for alternate strips, remote runways used by small aircraft, often unpaved. But even those are far. The realization is crushing: this aircraft will run out of fuel in the air. Every pilot trains for emergencies, but no one ever wants to face this one. The needles on the fuel gauges continue their slow, relentless drop. The pilots' calm voices over the intercom hide a growing sense of urgency. They know the margin for error is shrinking to zero. Now, it's a race not against another aircraft, but against time itself. Mayday! Mayday! Varig 254. Fuel emergency. The captain's voice is steady, but the words carry weight. ATC responds, trying to triangulate their position, but interference and distance garble the transmissions. The crew begins descending, searching for open ground. In the cabin, the announcement is short, stripped of detail, but impossible to misinterpret. Brace for an emergency landing. Gasps fill the air. Some pray silently. Others stare out the window, hunting for any sign of safety. Seatbelts click tighter. A few passengers clutch photographs or small charms, as if anchoring themselves to hope. The air feels heavier now, each breath sharp with fear. Outside, the jungle canopy seems to stretch endlessly, offering no mercy. From 3,000 feet, the Amazon is a solid sheet of green. But then a break. A rough grassy clearing, barely longer than a football field. The ground could be uneven, soft, even deadly. But it's the only shot they have. Garces lines up the approach. Inside the cockpit, hands move with precision, flaps down, gear lowered, speed reduced. Outside, the jungle rushes up to meet them. Wind whistles louder against the fuselage as the aircraft descends. The pilots exchange short, clipped words, their focus unshakable. In the cabin, all eyes are fixed forward, hearts pounding in unison. This will be the moment that decides life or death. The landing gear slams into the earth. The aircraft bounces, one wing clipping the ground. The right engine tears loose, sending metal fragments flying. Inside, passengers are thrown against seatbelts. Overhead bins burst open. Belongings scatter. A deafening roar fills the cabin. Then silence broken only by the sound of crying, coughing, and the creak of cooling metal. Miraculously, the fuselage holds. The plane rests in the clearing, battered but upright. Dust and smoke hang thick in the air, stinging eyes and throats. A few people sit frozen in shock, unable to process what just happened. Survivors stumble out into the suffocating humidity. The air is thick with the smell of fuel and crushed vegetation. Mosquitoes swarm instantly. The injured are laid out on blankets. With no road access, no signal, and no immediate rescue, the crew organizes survivors into small groups. They salvage food, water, and first aid supplies from the wreckage. As night falls, the forest comes alive with the sounds of insects and distant animal calls. Every step through the clearing feels like stepping into another world, one where nature dominates completely. The crew's leadership becomes the group's lifeline. The injured groans softly as makeshift bandages are tightened. Survival instincts begin to take over. The first night is restless. No one truly sleeps. They huddle together for warmth and safety. In the morning, some climb onto the fuselage to wave at any passing aircraft. But the jungle swallows sound and sight. Days pass. Hope flickers. The crew keeps morale up, leading survival tasks. Passengers begin to rely on each other, forming an unspoken bond born from shared struggle. The sun is merciless during the day, and the chill is unforgiving at night. Meals are rationed, water carefully guarded. Each sunrise brings renewed hope, but each sunset deepens the fear that help might never come. On the third day, a faint thump-thump of helicopter blades grows louder. A Brazilian Air Force crew has spotted them. Cheers erupt. Medical teams rush in with stretchers, water, and blankets. Tears stream down faces, some from relief, others from grief. Of the 54 people aboard, 41 have survived. 13 will never return home. For the survivors, the sound of those rotor blades is the sweetest they will ever hear. Exhausted hands reach upward as rescuers step into the clearing. The ordeal is ending, but the memory will never fade. Investigators comb through the wreckage. The flight recorders reveal the truth: a simple navigational input error, uncorrected until it was too late. No mechanical issues, no weather problems. Just a heading typed in wrong. It's the kind of mistake that now seems unthinkable, but in 1989, with less advanced navigation aids, it slipped through every safeguard. Photographs are taken, measurements recorded, and every control panel is scrutinized. The final report will point to human error, not malice, not machinery, as the root cause of the tragedy. Simulations show that catching the error in the first 10 minutes would have saved the flight. Cross-checking navigation instruments, comparing them with physical charts, and verifying coordinates with ATC were all missed opportunities. But hindsight is a cruel teacher. In the moment, everything seemed fine until it wasn't. Instructors will later replay this flight for training sessions, showing pilots how easily routine can lull even the best into complacency. A single unchecked assumption can change everything. Varig changes its procedures. Brazilian aviation authorities mandate stricter verification protocols. Flight 254 becomes a case study in pilot training worldwide. For the survivors, the jungle will forever be tied to memories of fear, loss, and resilience. For pilots, it's a haunting reminder of the cost of a small oversight. The names of the victims are etched into history, their loss serving as a silent warning. In classrooms, hangars, and simulators, this story lives on, reshaping the way future flights are flown. This was Varig Flight 254, a story of survival against impossible odds. It reminds us that behind every safe landing are countless moments where training, technology, and human judgment must align perfectly. When even one link in that chain breaks, the results can be devastating. If you found this journey gripping, subscribe to AeroVerse, because the skies are full of stories, and each one holds a lesson. The Amazon has kept many secrets, but this one was pulled back into the light. And as long as planes cross the skies, we will keep telling these stories, so that the mistakes of the past never repeat.